We are 13 days away from football time in Tennessee, and man, I'm excited. This baseball stuff, I can't wait for it to be over. It's boring me. I'm a football man. I love my Tennessee Vols, and I cannot wait for Tennessee to kick off against Syracuse in 13 days. This team has a lot of questions. This team is being wrote off. No expectation of competing for a playoff. No expectation of really, giving anybody a run for their money at all. They're just kind of, this is like a 7 or 8 win team, and that's as good as they're going to get. Well, I disagree with that. This team has the capabilities of getting to the college football playoffs this year. They do. If some things happen, and it starts in 13 days against Syracuse, we're going to see how this team looks. So let's talk about Syracuse and Tennessee. Syracuse is a team that won 10 games last year. Tennessee won 10 games as well. Tennessee went to the college football playoffs. Very successful season for both schools. But Vegas thinks both teams take a big step back, specifically Syracuse, in 2025. They're basically saying Syracuse is about a 5-win team and Tennessee's an 8-win team. So they do think both these teams will be worse in 2025. So why does Vegas think that? Well, because Syracuse is only bringing back 50% of the production from 2024. They lost Kyle McCord. They lost 3 or 4 receivers that, they had over 500 yards receiving last year. 3 of them are in the NFL. 1 of them went to Penn State. So a lot of the talent is gone and left. And that's going to really hurt Fran Brown, especially when you throw in the schedule that they got. They got out-of-conference football games against Tennessee and Notre Dame. And then they had a pretty tough ACC schedule. So it will be a rebuilding year, in my opinion, for Syracuse. But Fran Brown definitely, he deserves the time to get that turned around, specifically after winning 10 games last year. Now, with Tennessee, they bring back 58% of the production from last year. Lose a lot of people on offense. You lose 4 offensive linemen. You lose a lot of receivers. But you're bringing back, in my opinion, the best tight end in the SEC in Miles Kitselman. You are bringing back, or you brought in a Star Thomas from the portal. You got Peyton Lewis. Peyton Lewis and Deshaun Bishop, who rushed for about 800 yards last year. So you got some guys coming back. And in that type of offense, you're able to effectively run the football the way they spread defenses out. I expect our rushing game to be just as good as it was last year. The question is, can we throw the football effectively? Well, that's to be seen. Now, defensively, we're going to be a top 10 unit. You've heard it here. Top 10 defensive unit. I don't know why Tennessee's defense has not got the love that they should. Linebackers and secondary are basically all intact. Got just a really good back end on the defense. Defensive line-wise, we do lose some guys. Omar Norman Law, James Pierce, they got taken in the NFL draft. But listen, got a ton of guys coming back. Bryson Eason, Jackson Moy. You got Joshua Josephs. Just a bunch of really good football players that are coming back that played a lot of snaps last year. So I don't really expect any drop-off on the defensive side of it or even the defensive line side of things. Tennessee's going to be fine defensively. It's that offensive unit that I do have some concerns. Now, these two coaches, Josh Heupel, this is his 5th year at Tennessee, started back in 2021. He's just done a remarkable job, getting through all this, the NCAA penalties and the investigations and all the crap that we've had to fight through. And then you got on the Syracuse side, Fran Brown in his 2nd season. He won 10 games his 1st year. So both are really good coaches. I have a ton of respect for both those coaches. So now let's talk about players that we need to watch for, in this game. And I want to start first with Tennessee. Arian Carter, leading tackler from last year's team, 68 tackles, 7 tackles for loss. Immense talent. He's a junior, and he has the ability to be like a first-team All-American type guy. He's that talented. For Syracuse, Darrell Gill, he's the leading receiver from that team last year. He had 570 yards receiving. He had 31 receptions, and he's going to have to play a key part if Syracuse wants to be competitive this year in the ACC and get to a bowl game. Deshaun Bishop for Tennessee. He's our leading returning rusher from last year, 455 rushing yards. He's a great, humble, puts his head down and gets and does his job. He is a great running back. He's from Knoxville area. I'm expecting huge things from him and the other two running backs in our system. For Syracuse, Derek McDonald, this guy had 150 tackles over his last 3 years at Syracuse. He's a fifth-year senior. He's been there a long time. But this guy knows the defense. He's a great linebacker, and he's a guy. He's going to have to have a really good year, just kind of like Gill, if Syracuse wants to get to a bowl game and have a successful season. So, and then for Tennessee, the last guy is Joshua Josephs. I spoke a little bit about him a minute ago. 39 tackles, 9 tackles for a loss last year. He was a key part in that rotation. See, the key thing about Tennessee that people keep missing, they think that these were the people that we lost last year on that defensive line were the only people that played. No, we played 12 guys that we rotated in and out on. Joseph, West, Moy, all those guys played a ton of snaps. So we got a lot of guys coming back on that defensive line, and I don't think we miss a step. So let's talk about the quarterbacks for a minute. So Syracuse and Tennessee do not have the ideal situation as far as quarterback is concerned. Ricky Collins is basically a brand new quarterback. He doesn't really have any stats on record. He's not played in any games. So this is going to be a real test for him against a top 10, top 15 defense game one. And it's going to be basically a home game for Tennessee too. I think it'll be 80% Tennessee fans there. You won't be able to tell because both teams are orange, but Tennessee, it will be. It's only about a 3-hour drive from Knoxville to Atlanta, where Syracuse is. You have to fly down there. It's a lot more expensive to get down there. So obviously there'll be a lot more Tennessee fans there. So Ricky Collins has got his work cut out for him in game one against Tennessee. Now Joey Aguilar, he's not been named the quarterback like Ricky Collins, but we all expect him to be. Aguilar is an older guy, 24 years old, played the last 2 years at Appy State. Very successful as far as stat-wise. He threw for over 7,000 yards in the 2 years he was at Appy State, but the turnover issue. But I think that is overblown because in Heupel's system, there's just not a lot of interceptions. In the last 5 years at Tennessee, the most a quarterback has threw in regard to interceptions is 6. And so Aguilar has thrown for 24 interceptions in the last 2 years. That's because he was at a team that was playing some Power 4 teams, and they were getting behind in games. He was trying to make things happen. He didn't have a running game like he will at Tennessee to lean on. He won't have he didn't have the defense at Appy State that he's going to have at Tennessee to lean on. So he's not going to be pressured to try to make plays. I think Joey Aguilar could have a really, really good year, and I really don't think interceptions is going to be a problem for him in 2025. So Let's break these teams down just a little bit more, okay? So how does these teams run the football? So it's hard to do this just because there are a lot of people that are gone, but you kind of get from these stats in a way too, kind of what these teams want to do and what I think they want to do in this game. So rushing the football. Tennessee loves to run the football. This is a team that ran the football last year 61% of the time, and I expect the same numbers from this group of Tennessee team in 2025. You're going to see a run-predominant football team. And they were 9th in the country. They were 9th nationally and averaged over 200 yards rushing a game. That's phenomenal. Syracuse, on the other hand, didn't care to run the ball at all. 125th in the country. But boy, were they good at throwing the football. They were first in the country last year. So, it'll be hard for Syracuse to replicate what they had last year with Kyle McCord and those receivers. So they're going to have to somehow put up points whatever way they can. They're losing the running back from last year too. They got a guy that I think that's going to be their main guy this year. He rushed for a little over 100 yards. So Syracuse, they've got an uphill battle here this season. Tennessee, everything's not roses for them either. You're losing 4 out of your 5 starting offensive linemen. You're losing some receivers. You're losing your starting quarterback. Even though I think Nico's not that great, we won a lot of games just in spite of him. Just to be honest with you, it does hurt that we've had to bring in a quarterback that's only had a couple of months to learn the offense. So, there's going to be some learning curves there. Here's the thing, though. This is what this game comes down to. And this is where I'm going to get to my prediction in this game. So, the only way Syracuse wins this game, and Tennessee is about a 14-point favorite right now, according to Vegas. The only way Syracuse can win this game is if Tennessee gives them this game. Tennessee would have to make, in my opinion, at least 4 or 5 turnovers. Syracuse would have to take care of the ball themselves, and Tennessee would have to play really, really bad. Lining up Syracuse and Tennessee is the better team, period. Now, Tennessee needs to lean on the running game, lean on Miles Kitzelman in that tight end slot, getting him the ball, moving the chains, take some deep shots with Mac Matthews, Braylon Staley, but stay in the offense, stay consistent, don't make mistakes, don't force things, Joey Aguilar. Just do your job. Defensively, they'll take care of themselves. This is a defense that you got Colton Hood that we brought in the preseason. You got Ricky Gibson on the other side, Jalen McCullough. You just have some really, really good guys out there or Jalen McMurray, not Jalen McCullough, sorry. That's an old ball. Jalen McMurray. Just a really good secondary. Jeremiah Thielander at linebacker, a defensive line that's stacked. So Tennessee defensively, I think, is going to keep Syracuse in check. As long as the Tennessee offense can score probably 21 points, they're good. I think Tennessee will probably score 27 to 30 points. I'm going to be conservative. I'm going to say Tennessee scores about 28 points, and I think Syracuse scores 13. I think Tennessee covers the spread, wins 28 to 13, and gets a good win to start this season off. And then get ready. We got a ETSU the next week, but then after that, you got the Georgia game. So Tennessee is a good step to get ready for Georgia, because that's when the football really starts in week 3 against the Georgia Bulldogs, who are a top 5 football program in 2025. So anyway, guys, Tennessee 28, Syracuse 13. Vols start the season off with a win. I'll talk to y'all later.